Have you ever wanted to be cool, hip, happening, snazzy, nifty, cosmopolitan? Ever wished you were the talk of the town, name on everybody's lips, carrying enough unbridled swag to decimate every poser in a 12-foot radius? If the answer is yes to all of the above, don't fret, there is a solution. In 2004, the great minds at Electronic Arts put their heads together to create the ultimate street cred producing tool, a game where you could live out your greatest fantasy, getting lots of tattoos and being liked by other people. And Fergie's there. Yes, that Fergie. In the Urbz Sims in the City, a series spin-off for home and handheld consoles, your mission starts with infiltrating popular cliques, avoiding the cops, and constantly listening to the Black Eyed Peas. As you social climb your way through 9 unique districts in the city of Urbzville, each with its own subculture, your sim weasels their way to the top of the popularity ladder, earning the admiration of their peers. Today, we're going to be covering the most 2000s video game ever made, how it came to be, and the hole it left in my heart. Let's talk about the Urbz Sims in the City. In 2000, riding off the success of the original mainline Sims game, EA was rapidly becoming aware of just how sizable their new franchise could become in the future. The first installment in their new series, though a spin-off from the SimCity IP, had proven itself a worthy endeavor after only a few months of being out to the public. Sales numbers smashed expectations, critics and casual fans alike praised the take on the simulation genre, and then untapped sectors of the gaming market were rushing to get their hands on a disc. Expansion packs and ideas for a sequel had already begun swirling around the studio offices, extra content for the series being a given, but company executives knew that they had something special on their hands. They needed to milk their new star for all it was worth, and DLC was not gonna cut it. This, of course, started the fever dream-esque reign of Sims console ports. Now, if you know anything about console Sims games, you might have an inkling of how complicated this story is going to become. If you're a complete stranger to them, I'm sorry. The original Sims port was the first title to make its way onto consoles, releasing for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube in 2003. Although it shared the exact same branding as the PC version, the design and gameplay were completely redone. The console port was the first Sims game to have 3D graphics, as well as the choice between free play and a story mode called Get a Life. Due to hardware limitations, family sizes were reduced and hard furniture limits were imposed, dulling the customization features in comparison to the PC release. Console ports differing heavily from the mainline games and even other versions of themselves becomes somewhat of a trend, as you'll soon see. This edition of the game received fairly lukewarm reviews, but fear not, EA has no intention of taking those thoughts to heart. In December of that very year, an entirely new spin-off IP, The Sims Bustin' Out, would be released for those same 6th generation consoles, as well as handhelds like the Game Boy Advance. This new guy had a similar style of gameplay to the original Sims port, with both story and free play modes available, except it features a main villain, Malcolm Landgrab, the devious landlord. Malcolm is terrorizing your city by stealing tenants' items as revenge for unpaid rent, and your job is to earn enough money to purchase them back and eventually buy Malcolm's home out from under him. This title is where we first see the handheld and home console versions of the exact same game diverge too. The Game Boy Advance Bustin' Out instead has Sims go to a place called Sim Valley on vacation and control the sim directly rather than a point-and-click function. If you were already very aware of these games, my apologies, it's all ambiance, I had to set the mood, alright? By the final quarter of 2004, the second mainline Sims game had launched to critical acclaim and introduced thousands of new players to the series. Although the new installment was hitting sectors of the gaming market that hadn't yet been cornered, such as the elusive woman, EA knew they needed to keep up with the times. A sparkly new demographic needed to be cornered and dominated. Teenagers who had a GameCube and really wanted to be edgy. This is the very specific niche that the Urbz Sims in the City was born to fill. Development for Urbz had actually started soon after the release of the first Sims game, but staffing issues caused a delay in the production sometime around the debut of the Sims Makin' Magic DLC pack. The initial plan was to release it as the first Sims console title in general, but obviously that didn't end up happening. The game's original team was split in half, and one sub-team was reassigned to what would become Bustin' Out, while the other would continue to work on Urbz. Urbz itself was then rebranded as a sequel to Bustin' Out, which we'll get to, and became the second spin-off title to come out, hitting shelves in November of 2004. 2 distinct versions of the game were released, twist, much like its predecessor, with the handheld and console versions having differing plots. I desperately wish I knew why. I have no explanation for you. In the home console version of the Urbz, your sim has just flown the nest for the first time, moving out of their mother's house into a shiny new city apartment. Upon loading the game up initially, you're treated to a very long intro cinematic where your sim attempts to go to a nightclub and is subsequently refused entry because they busted such a shitty dance move. Before you can even wallow in self-pity, the Black Eyed Peas miraculously come to aid you, will.i.am teaching you his infinitely cooler and better dance move. Your sim is then mercifully allowed into the club, now buddy-buddy with Ol' Willie. This entire cutscene is set to a Simlish version of Let's Get It Started, by the way. When you enter the Create a Sim screen, the customization options given to you are noticeably sparse. Very few features can even be changed in the first place, and those that can have a small amount of wiggle room. You must then choose one of 9 styles for your sim, each one correlating to a district in the city. Each district represents a different subculture or style popular at the time and determines where your sim will start their journey. The gameplay itself begins when Will arrives at your apartment after the club incident with a new face named Darius at his heels. Darius has the highest reputation in the city of Urbzville, which basically means that he's cool as fuck. Reputation is the main leveling system used in the game and ultimately the key to beating it, which separates the Urbz trajectory from the more freeform style of the main Sims games. Darius teaches you to do a power social where you play an incredibly short minigame and nearly kill will.i.am with a sick guitar solo. Will then reminds you to keep up on your rent and disappears as fast as he came, leaving you to your own devices. Your base apartment arrives entirely empty, save for a boombox and end table. A few necessities to keep up on your needs are available in your inventory, but this oddly enough doesn't even include a toilet. Your Sim's basic needs differ a bit from the previous games, with the social bar being removed entirely. Socialization is redirected to the reputation meter and is used to level up. In order to talk to people, you must, of course, find people. You can leave your apartment and head out toward the district you chose during character creation. The districts range in theme from the punk, anti-establishment setting of Central Station to the artsy, bohemian Foundry to the glitzy fashionistas in Diamond Heights. Each area has its own unique aesthetic and a cast of NPCs that match the vibes. Your job is relatively simple. In order to raise your reputation, you will need to fit in with the culture around you. You're given a set of tasks that must be completed in order to earn access to other districts, with the end goal being to visit and gain popularity in all 9. Chatting up the NPCs in the scene and gaining their trust nets you reputation and eventual entry to that district's particular club if you're dressed right, as well as the ability to earn new socialization options called social moves. When going through the interaction menu with each sim, you'll see red, green, and yellow options to choose from. The action's color indicates how likely it is to improve your relationship with that particular sim. Choosing a red option usually isn't going to do anything helpful. To earn simoleons, you'll need to take on a district's special job. These jobs often coordinate with the district's subculture. For example, Central Station has a piercing shop, and the Foundry gives you a position making sculptures at an art gallery. In order to complete a job, you would need to master 3 levels of button mashing minigames. The minigames were interrupted consistently by a specific need dropping down, which would need to be topped up before a sim could continue their work. However, when you stopped to address your need, the job performance meter would go down, and if that got too low, you'd be fired. I'm not gonna lie to you, these minigames brought out a deep-seated evil in me. They are so fucking stressful. I don't think I can say I was technically enjoying myself at any point during these jobs. I hate them. In order to actually unlock the higher tiers of a given job, you'd need skill points in the associated skill, which were earned through special items. You'd have to build your rep to unlock them, and they came with a second, worse button mashing minigame. My carpal tunnel is looking fatal at this point. Your hard-earned wages were used to pay rent, buy stylish clothes, and furnish your apartment, which, by the way, if you bought enough furniture, you'd eventually get a pet. Once you have enough reputation to get into the aforementioned VIP club, you can head inside to learn a power social from Darius at a midnight party. Power socials are needed to defeat the occasional villain. Yep, the Urbz has a few random villains, and they sport names like Orangu McBain and Kiki Blunt, which is fucking awesome. Defeating these scoundrels will earn you various parts to Darius's secret machine, which is in fact a money printer that that you get at the end of the game. Districts have their own set of interpersonal relations. Certain districts support or oppose others, and social moves learned from one district may work particularly well with like-minded others. In addition to your district tasks, normal sim needs must also be kept up with. If certain needs become urgent and your sim must immediately deal with them in public, such as going to the bathroom or falling asleep outside your home, the cops lurking around the area will come after you. Some actions that need to be completed may be more district-specific, like when you get asked to mug someone. You can in fact mug people in this game. Never forget what they took from us. You can also graffiti tag items, because spray paint is the coolest type of paint. Once you've reached a certain threshold of reputation and checked off a few items on your to-do list, you'll unlock a new district, which comes with new faces and new fashion standards. The gameplay at its core, no matter the district, stays pretty much the same throughout the entire journey. You'll complete the next district, and the next, and the next, until you've dethroned Darius and earned your rightful place as the coolest bastard alive. Eventually, when you end up at the very top, along with your money printer, you also get his penthouse, which is just the power of social interaction. Moving along from click to click and engaging in the various subcultures is really the heart of this game. It thrives with the amount of personality that's infused into everything from the NPCs to the Simlish soundtrack. You can adorn your sim with tattoos and piercings, spiky hair, and fuck-ass turtlenecks. Red Bull vending machines are littered throughout the world. One district is just the Black Eyed Peas district where the band lives. I really wonder how much they got paid for that. The means of building your reputation and the task progression in this game are both pretty damn monotonous, but I think that the character that fills every aspect of the experience does a good job at distracting you from that. It's fun to try on a wide range of different identities and weasel your way into special groups without a second thought. Okay, for maybe the first couple hours, and then your hands hurt really bad. My hands hurt really bad, but wait, that's just the console version. What was up with the handheld version? Well, you may remember that Urbz was intended to be a sequel to Bustin' Out. That doesn't really add up at all in terms of the home console edition, and that's because the handheld version was the only true sequel, as it took place in the same world as Bustin' Out. Well, same world as the handheld version, I mean. This iteration of Urbz is an adventure game with a linear plot, focusing more on short quests and mini-games. It has virtually nothing to do with the console version, save for also featuring Darius and the concepts of different subcultures. The plot instead sees you fired from your janitorial job at the illustrious King Tower after the building was purchased by businessman Daddy Big Bucks. Our mogul here plans to buy every building in the city, demolish them all, and rebuild them as part of an urban theme park with large entry fees. Daddy Big Bucks was a notable name in Bustin' Out, being the richest man in Sim Valley and providing a side quest for the player. Your goal in Handheld Urbz is to stop his tyrannical takeover by completing various tasks around the city and make yourself enough money to stay afloat while you do. Instead of the niche districts we saw before, this version has 4 rep groups: the nerdies, the richies, the streeties, and the artsies. Your sim is sorted into one of these groups based on a survey during character creation, which is fun. These groups do have internal social dynamics, much like the districts in the console version, but they act more like factions than cliques. The art style and visual makeup of this version is almost entirely its own, barely even matching the promotional material on the Urbz website from way back when. It almost feels like it was supposed to sit in the shadow of the console version, which is odd since Urbz has such strong branding. All of this is incredibly odd, frankly. Sims console titles are so damn weird. Speaking of strong branding, Urbz actually had its own comic, aptly named Urbz Comics with an X because it's cool. A total of 23 pages were produced and published to the official website as promotional material for the game. They followed an Urb named Jade, Little Miss Purple Bob from the intro cinematic, exploring all 9 districts from the console version, each one getting 2 to 4 pages of artwork. 2 remaining pages focused on the handheld version, which is, again, interesting to me. Developing a whole second game for no reason and then ignoring it in advertising. Yet another incredible move from Electronic Arts. The console version also included download codes for 4 free Black Eyed Peas songs bundled together in an EP called Let's Get It Started, the Urbz edition. 2 of these songs are in Simlish. So, that's the Urbz for you. Playing through these games is an experience I will never forget. Take that however you'd like. That is all I have for you today though. I have no good outro. I have no idea what that was. Thank you so much for watching me talk about this weird-ass Sims game. I really appreciate it, and thank you to all of my members. Your support is so appreciated. Stay safe, stay wonderful, my friends, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.